Once upon a time, in the era of Prophet of God Uzair, peace be upon him, who was one of the prophets of the Bani Israel, he called on people to follow Torah and adhere to the 10 commandments brought by Moses, peace be upon him. While most of the people were living a corrupt life, dominated by fraud, lies, and deception.
Today you will go with Master Uzair to his garden.
The weather is very hot and we are still in town. How will it be midday?
Do not be lazy and do not play in the way and carry out the orders of Master Uzair without delay.
I'll have a sip of water, then I'm ready. This is the city of death. Humans call it cemeteries. I don't like it and I don't feel comfortable in it.
When he reached the cemetery, Uzair said, astonished by the power of God, God will revive us after death.
Finally, here's the garden. I rest here so that my master gathers whatever grapes and figs he wants. Nothing wrong with eating a little grass. My basket would be full and my stomach would be full. The heat is so intense. I wish I hadn't filled my stomach to this extent.
The Prophet of God, Uzair, felt his need for shade and his donkey's need for rest, and the closest shadows to them were the tombstones. So he went to that.
Will my stomach eat dry bread soaked in grape juice? It is a very small amount. How are these meals sufficient for him?
The Prophet of God, Uzair, may God's prayers and peace be upon him, was thinking about a matter that puzzled him, which was the matter of resurrection. How God would revive these bones after their death. He was certain of the power of God and had no doubts. He was just wondering at this moment when a very strange thing happened. The Prophet of God, Uzair, died in that place. He died quietly as if he had fallen into a deep sleep, and before the donkey uttered the word, it slept too. The last thing he wanted to say was that the grapes would spoil if we left them in the heat. But death was swift. He could not speak.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أو كالذي مر على قرية وهي خاوية على عروشها قال أنى يحيي هذه الله بعد موتها.
Did you hear the news of the disappearance of Uzair? Yes, I heard he didn't come back from the last night. Many believers in the Prophet Uzair will go to look for him. Are you going? No. I will disrupt my business and work for free. And you? I will definitely be with them. Are you going to look in the cemeteries too? We have to search everywhere. But entering cemeteries at night is scary.
You are right. I will suffice to call him out. Even if he is asleep, he will wake up and answer us.
Sir Uzair.
Oh, Prophet of God.
No one is responding. Perhaps he is injured and cannot walk.
And he can't speak either.
Don't waste time. He's not here.
Come on, let's look elsewhere.
40 years passed since the disappearance of the Holy Prophet of God, and most people forgot about him.
Peace be upon you, my son.
Go away, old woman. The owner of the palace does not give money to the needy.
May God have mercy of whoever this land belongs to.
Listen, lady, you have told me this story 1,000 times. It was the abode of a prophet named Uzair, but that was 100 years ago.
No matter how the year change, the original remains.
You stupid woman, go away!
Why do you want to kick me out of here? I'm waiting for the return of my dear sir. I just want to check on him.
After 100 years, life returned to the prophet of God Uzair, and he found before him a being of great light. He said to him, "How long have you slept?" "O Uzair," he replied, "I stayed for a day, or part of a day." He said, "Rather you have slept for 100 years. Look at your donkey, O Uzair. Consider what remains of the dust of its bones. Then see how God commands the dead to come back to life. It is just His power alone. See how the dirt looks for the dirt, and then see how the leather covers it. Get up, you donkey. Dead for 100 years."
I obey you, O venerable king. How is the food of my master not spoiled yet? We are 100 years old. When my body turned to dust and come the grape, how come the grape juice remained the same?
Uzair, peace be upon him, looked at the sky and then said, "I know that God has power over all things."
فأماته الله 100 عام ثم بعثه قال كم لبثت قال لبثت يوما أو بعض يوم قال بل لبثت 100 عام فانظر إلى طعامك وشرابك لم يتسنه وانظر إلى حمارك ولنجعلك آية للناس وانظر إلى العظام كيف ننشزها ثم نكسوها لحما فلما تبين له قال أعلم أن الله على كل شيء قدير.
The shape of the market and the shape of the houses and the people's clothes have changed. The only thing that's the same in us, donkey. Grandma, please get out of here and don't make me hurt you.
Ha! What is bothering you? When I pass by the house of Masters Al-Uzair?
Your master, Uzair, died 100 years ago and people forgot about him. I know this smell.
This donkey reminds me of my master's donkey. Oh my God! What is this God wind? It's as if my master is standing in front of me.
The prophet of God smiled at her, saying, "I am Uzair. God gave me death for 100 years, then raised me alive."
His voice, but how can I be sure? I can't see anymore. If you are my master, Uzair, the prophet of God, I implore you to restore my sight.
Uzair called on his Lord to restore her sight.
Sir, it's you. It's you. Thanks God. Thank God.
This is unbelievable.
Do not forget that Uzair is a prophet, and prophets perform miracles.
What do we know that he is actually Uzair and not a guy claiming to be him?
He prayed for the old woman, and her sight returned to her.
This is not enough evidence. He may be a skilled doctor or he may be a magician.
What do you think, Chief?
Al-Uzair was hiding the copy of the Torah tablets in the garden of his house. Our ancestors searched for it, and we also searched for it, but we did not find it.
This is the evidence we accept. Why did the man sit and what does he write?
He says that he writes the Torah so that he can match it to the cached copy.
I am starting to trust him. We know that Al-Uzair used to memorize the Torah by heart.
Forgive us, Prophet of God. We had to make sure of your character.
I never doubted this for a moment.
Glory be to the one who gives life and death. The Uzair performed a wonderful miracle.
I am Uzair's donkey and the miracle happened to me. I find little attention.
Sir, he's getting up. He's done writing.
And how do we know that they are Torah writing?
This is true. None of us knows the Torah.
Wait, he's pointing at his big tree. Dig under it.
It's the same manuscript.
Yes, it is the Torah that was lost from us.
We would not have found it if not for Mr. Uzair.
We apologize to you, O Prophet of God.
Forgive us, O Prophet of God, and advise us.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أو كالذي مر على قرية وهي خاوية على عروشها قال أنى يحيي هذه الله بعد موتها فأماته الله 100 عام ثم بعثه قال كم لبثت قال لبثت يوما أو بعض يوم قال بل لبثت 100 عام فانظر إلى طعامك وشرابك لم يتسنه وانظر إلى حمارك ولنجعلك آية للناس وانظر إلى العظام كيف ننشزها ثم نكسوها لحما فلما تبين له قال أعلم أن الله على كل شيء قدير.
The people saw the resurrection of the dead in front of them. And the Prophet of God, Uzair, peace be upon him, returned to them, and the knowledge of the Torah, which they had lost and neglected to act upon, returned to them. They did not pay attention to all this good, and began to weave legends and repeat myths, claiming that Uzair is the son of God, exalted be God Almighty.
وقالت اليهود عزير ابن الله وقالت النصارى المسيح ابن الله ذلك قولهم بأفواههم يضاهئون قول الذين كفروا من قبل قاتلهم الله أنى يؤفكون اتخذوا أحبارهم ورهبانهم أربابا من دون الله والمسيح ابن مريم وما أمروا إلا ليعبدوا إلها واحدا لا إله إلا هو سبحانه عما يشركون